afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to RobMotive. Today we're continuing on with the Sport Bar project for the Toyota Tacoma. Now, what I'm going to do today, I've got to connect the third brake light, which is right up there, into the brake light in the back. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and this might come in handy if you're wiring anything else that requires activation when you push on the brake pedal. So not only for the third brake light, but for other accessories as well. Now, what we have is the connection up there, which runs right through the bar. You can see the blue taped wire and the other one hanging down on the other side of the red wire. Those need to be plugged together. Now, the wire that has the blue tape on it runs down to right here. This is going to connect up with the rest of the wiring that came with the kit, and it's going to be tucked underneath the well here, or the sidewall, I guess, so you won't be able to see it. Now, fortunately for me, it's long enough that it's going to reach down here no problem. We have plenty of wiring, and it's even fused, and I like that. I'm going to leave that in. So I'm just going to connect the red wire up to the brake light, the proper wire. You'll see those in a minute. And then the black wire obviously is ground, and that's it. And then when I stomp on the brake, or gently push the brake, it should activate that light up there. So first thing we need to do is to go ahead and get that wire tucked underneath. I'm just going to run it right back behind here, probably underneath the lip of the cap, and then down through back here it can gain access to the cavity where the tail light sits. So that's the first thing that I'm going to do, and then we'll pull the tail light off and I'll show you where the wiring is. Just realized I can't run this wire through the back and tuck this fuse through this area. It's just too big. So what I have to do is go ahead and pull the tail light and tuck this end through, because it's obviously much smaller. So we're going to go ahead and pull the tail light now, as opposed to trying to fit that through, which I know it won't. So to take the tail light off again, you have a screw here and a screw here. I believe it's the bottom one here. We're going to find out in just a second. So let's take our, of course, 10 millimeter socket. Go ahead and pull out these screws. And be wary when you put them back in. They are not in there very tight for a reason. They just screw into like an aluminum or stainless steel, I don't know what it is, little bracket. Let's see if I can even, nah, can't do it by hand. Thought I'd be able to. So let's do it by ratchet. Again, I don't remember for sure which one it is. I think it's the bottom one. It is. I just saw the whole light move. And make sure when you pull out you don't lose any of the little inserts that are on this light. You kind of have to give it a good pull like so. And I'm going to hopefully there's nothing living in here, just lay it down. And then what I want to splice into, let's see if I remember, is going to be this blue wire right here, I believe. This wire right here. We're going to find out. I have a tester there, so I'm going to test it and see. But before I do that, I got a lot of leaves and junk in there. Look at all the stuff that accumulates, I guess, through that hole inside your housing. But we're going to run it right up here at the top. And I know you can't see it, and neither can I, but it does go through right over to here somewhere. If I remember. So I'm going to go ahead and run that wire through, and then go ahead and run it on down the rail, and then we'll get to the wiring part next. Alright, I've got the wire run down. I decided to just run it through the track because I couldn't get it behind the plastic without running into things. Apparently there's tabs that hold this in along the way, so I just ran it through the track inside where this goes, I guess, and then ran it up here, and it's pretty much hidden under here. You can't see it, but it comes through underneath. Let me see if I can give you a shot of what that looks like. right up there. You can see it coming through, I think, on the side, hopefully, right up there. Anyway, it comes down. I did have to cut the end off, so now I have to go ahead and splice the wires back together. And to do that, I'm going to use these things. These are called solder seal wire connectors, and there's different sizes, you guys can see there. I'm going to get away with the smallest one, I think. And what it does, I'll show you on a bigger one. You can see there's solder in the center, and then you have two adhesive rings on each side. What you do is you heat this with, I found a lighter works best. You can use a hairdryer or a heat gun, but it'll take forever and probably burn through the outside coating before you're done. So I'm just going to use a lighter to melt the solder to seal it in. It works really well. I've used it in the past several times. So I've gone ahead and cut the wires, or rather taken the ends off. And we're going to just go ahead, hopefully here in a second, I'll get you guys in front of the camera there, and put these together. And as I said, it's pretty simple to do. I could shrink wrap them, but in this case, or shrink tape them, I guess, but I'm going to go ahead and just tape them, as opposed to doing that. So we're going to grab the solder seal and stick one end in. Pretty simple, really. And stick the other end in so that the two exposed wires meet up with each other in there. That's what you want. Right at the solder point. And then you want to go ahead, as I mentioned, and heat that up with a lighter. Okay, I'm first going to see if I can't melt the adhesive part, because that'll help me to hold it down. And then I can concentrate on the solder part, which this is such a small amount of solder, it shouldn't take long. If I can do it without burning myself. You just want to see the solder start to flow. And I think we've done it. And that's it. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see it in the camera, but that's all it takes. I'll let it cool a bit, and then I'll put some electrical tape around the connection itself. We'll do the other one, and then I'll tape the whole thing up with electrical tape just to make sure there's no opportunity for moisture to get inside. I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, next step is to go ahead and connect the wiring. I'm going to use one of these little splice things. You kind of clamp it down over the wire, and then I put a plug on the other side to plug into that slot you see there once you fold it over onto the wire. Now, the wire. It is the one with the blue wire right here. See this blue wire? That is the wire that you want to use to access the brake light. So I'm going to clamp that clamp thing, whatever you call these things. What do you call them? Let's see. T-tap wire connectors. There you go. I'm going to clamp that on. Now, a little tip for you. Before you clamp it on, because I've never found that the metal in here, once you clamp it on, is sharp enough to actually penetrate the wire insulation. So I'm going to kind of just scrape off a little bit of the coating here, the insulation, so that I can see the wire, and I can go ahead and clamp right over that. And then I'll tape it up, of course, as well. Once that's done, all that's left is to put a little ring connector on the end of this wire, the ground. And I'm going to ground it, probably just screwing a nut onto this bolt that's right inside here. Hopefully you guys can see that right there. That's what I'm going to ground this to. Got everything wired up. Got it plugged back into the light socket down here. Put a little bit of tape over the connector. Don't know if it's necessary. And then ran the ground right inside. I'll light it up for you. You can see where the ground wire is on that screw right there. I actually was able to find a 10mm screw that worked. So now all we have to do is actually test it. So I'm going to leave you guys sit right there, and then I'm going to hit the brake light, come back here and see for myself. And there you go. Success. The brake light is on. Look how bright that thing is. There are 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9, I don't know, but there's a ton of LED lights in that thing. You're not going to miss it. Much brighter than the OEM hiding out underneath there. Now you can see the stop lights on the truck itself still work. That's always a good sign. So I consider this a success. Now all I have to do is put the light back in and we're done. Okay, tuck everything back. Sure I'm not pinching anything. And give it a little push. There you go. It's just that simple. Hopefully my holes are lined up still. That can be kind of a drag. Perfect. Now, since everything's back together, we have to go ahead and test it one more time just to make sure that it actually still works. And there you have it. Everything is on. So I'll consider this a success. Next up is going to be putting on the light bar. I've done my engineering. I know what I want to do, so we're going to tackle that next. Anyway, that is how you access the brake light, I guess, in case you're trying to add any extra accessories like I've just done with this third brake light in my Toyota Tacoma. Leave a comment. Let me know. What do you think? I'd be curious. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.